Hello and welcome to another video. I'm Northern Soul Reaper, and today I want to tell you about an anime series that I discovered last year that became quite special to me, and tell you a little bit about the story behind that as well. So let's begin. So the anime that I want to tell you about today is Sakura Quest. It's something that I discovered last year when I resubscribed to Funimation Now. Sakura Quest tells the story of Yoshino Koharu. She is a young woman who lives in Tokyo. She moved there to try and find a job, and her parents are kind of pressuring her to come home to her rural town, but she felt smothered there and she wants to get away from it all. She wants to live in the big city. And over the course of the first, the opening, you find out that she's had a lot of job rejections. She's gone to a lot of interviews, and she's being rejected for a lot of jobs. And eventually she is approached by a talent agency. It's someone that she modelled for in the past, and they say that they've got a job that is basically an honorary title. A local town and their tourism board want her to be the Queen of Manoyama. It's basically an honorary title that involves trying to get people to come to the town. So she accepts the job and she boards the train. All of her expenses are kind of paid to help her get there and get her settled in. So she basically makes the move to Manoyama. And when she gets there, unfortunately, the tourism board are incredibly disappointed with her. The Queen of Manoyama role was meant to go to a pop star, but due to a case of mistaken identity, it was actually offered to Yoshino by accident. And it also transpires that the pop star that the head of the tourism board wanted has been dead for quite a long time. So basically it was just a storm of the right place, wrong time for Yoshino. And since the tourism board have already paid the fees to the talent agency and Yoshino's already accepted the job, there's basically nothing for it other than for her to begin work as the Queen of Manoyama. Along the way, Yoshino meets and ultimately recruits a number of young women onto her task force, dedicated to turning the town into a bustling tourism spot. Joining Yoshino are Shiori, who is already a member of the tourism board, Maki, an aspiring actor and local celebrity, Ririko, the granddaughter of a shop owner, and Sanae, a web developer and blogger originally from Tokyo who moved to Manoyama to get away from the big city. Now, it might not seem like the most exciting premise for an anime show. The characters are all stereotypes that you've seen countless times before, but as a fan of the slice of life genre, I was really kind of taken by surprise by how much I enjoyed the show. Now, the storylines don't get too much more complicated than kind of visiting a local merchant and trying to get more visitors to come to the store, or trying to throw a concert while making a documentary on the town. But the show does have its heavy moments, and a lot of these come from the conflict felt by Ririko, and because she's kind of caught in the middle of this ongoing disagreement and conflict between the tourism board and the Guild of Merchants, because Ririko's grandmother is the head of the Guild of Merchants, and the head of the tourism board, the head of the Guild of Merchants, really have it out for each other. They both kind of want to see the town thrive, but they want to go about it in different ways, and the Guild of Merchants often feel like they have a bit more power than the tourism board, and the tourism board always have to go and ask them for help, and it kind of the conflicts come from there. And Ririko is a shy young woman who's basically caught between her desires to help Yoshino and the town and to kind of toe the line with her grandmother. The first thing that struck me was the characters. It's unusual for an anime to focus on adults. These young women are not the typical protagonists of an anime, and it was refreshing to see them coping and dealing with adult problems. Whether it's Yoshino coming to terms with the fact that her future might not lie in Tokyo as she wanted, and that small town life isn't such a bad thing, or Sanae, who was a big shot developer who moved to Manoyama to focus on her blogging to try and do something different, but ended up falling into a rut. Each of the women have things in their lives that they are forced to confront over the course of the series, and it was a joy to watch them grow over 25 episodes. It's easy to relate to people on the screen when you can sympathise with their life problems. As a 28-year-old, I can definitely relate to some of the things they're dealing with. Now, the animation in the show is fantastic. It kind of reminded me of Sakura Wars in a way, and a lot of that is to do with the environments. I've said before in manga that I'm a sucker for backgrounds, but the same applies for anime. I love environments, and this one, in the quiet moments, you really get to see the town, and nothing's more exciting to kind of see than when they focus on the small little alleys of the mercantile quarter, when they're walking past little shops, and it's just all really well animated. And the characters within it are drawn very well as well. All of them have a distinct look to them, and they all have their own character and charm, and part of that is also comes from the voice acting. I watched it in English on Funimation Now, and the cast were picked perfectly, to be honest, for their roles. I really liked all of the young women in the main cast, but also all the side characters as well. There were a lot of hilarious side characters along the way who kind of helped them along their journey. I have to give a special shout out to Elizabeth Maxwell and Vinay Murphy, who play Sanae and Sandal respectively. They are two of my favourite characters in the series. For me, a good slice of life is an escape. It should help me forget about the stresses of everyday life while telling a story about a bunch of likeable characters that by the end you feel like they are your friends. And I have to say that for me, Sakura Quest accomplishes this and then some. Now, why is Sakura Quest so special to me? Well, last year we sadly had to say goodbye to one of our cats, Finn, who was very ill, had to be put to sleep, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't deal with it very well. It was a rough period, and I was just kind of sad all the time, but we eventually kind of got to the point where we decided that we'd like to adopt another kitten, because we also have another cat, Max, who was very lonely at the time. And it wasn't fair for him to be kind of on his own, and also we felt like we gave Finn such a good life that we wanted to do that for another cat if we could. So we adopted Link, our kitten, and for the first few weeks I was basically living in our spare room looking after him, and I was struggling to reconcile my grief for losing Finn with these new feelings of attachment to the new kitten. It was around this time that I subscribed to Funimation Now and decided to start watching Sakura Quest. I would watch a couple of episodes a night before going to sleep, and it was during this time, looking after Link, that I fell in love with Manayama and all the people living there. Sakura Quest is about getting on with life, not holding out for a fairy tale ending, and it's something that resonated with me, especially at the time. Nothing will replace Finn. He was my best friend, and I'll always cherish the time I spent with him. But we also had the opportunity to rescue Link and give him a loving home and hopefully a long and happy life. There's a bit of sweetness when Sakura Quest comes to its end, and this is exactly kind of how I was feeling with Link and Finn. It might not seem like watching an anime and losing a pet are at all related, but the show really helped me, and even if it was just cheering me up when I was down. And I truly believe that whether it's a TV show or a film or a book, a manga, a comic book, if it helps you deal with it and it helps you kind of move forward and get past those feelings and deal with the feelings, not just bottle them down but deal with them, and I say, whatever helps, and that's really what Sakura Quest was to me. It's always good to try and talk about it as well, so if you are feeling low, find someone, find a friend, find a family member and talk to them. I was lucky when we lost Finn. I shared that grief with my wife, and we were able to talk to each other, and whilst down the line I was able to kind of find some solace in watching this show, it wouldn't if it wasn't for being able to talk to my wife and go through that with her, I might not have gotten over those feelings. And there's also some great charities for when you've lost a loved one or if you've lost a pet. I'll leave some links below if you need to talk to anyone, please do. So that's really it for this video. I just wanted to share my thoughts and experiences with an anime show that particularly resonated with me. It's a great slice of life. It's a self-contained 25 episode story. Give it a watch if you fancy it. You might just come to like the characters as well. If you want something a little slower paced that's self-contained and finishes after its run, because we have these long running shonens that are always kind of ongoing, but to have something nice and slow paced and laid back is always nice as well. Let me know in the comments below if you've watched Sakura Quest, what you thought of it, and I'm always looking for something new in the recommendations. Let me know how anime and mangas helped you in particular. I'd love to hear your story. If you want more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. There's plenty of videos on there now, and subscribing is the best way to get the videos as they come out. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I've been Northern Soul Reaper, and until next time, goodbye.